Hi everybody, Matthew Stebbins with the Space Coast Elite Homes team with the Brevard County housing market update. I wanted to give you an update on what was happening in the housing market, what's going on so that you guys can stay aware and up on what is going on. It's super important. So the more information I can give you, the better. So here we go. So because everything is a little bit behind. So for the month of January 2026, closed sales were down 3.8%. A lot of people were waiting for the mortgage rates to come down, so that makes sense to me. It has been a little bit slower of a start this year because there was a lot going on, but things are starting to pick up now. And the reason why now, the rates have just actually dropped to 5.875%, down from 6.12. So that's a huge drop. That could be a lot of money for people. New pending sales were down 0.8%. Listings were down 8.8% at that time. Median sales price actually went down to $375,000. What does that mean? It means that people's buying power originally was way up here a long time ago. The rates went up, so then their buying power came down. So we will see an average drop in that sales price. It doesn't mean all the prices came down in the area, but the median sales price for that time did. Supply of inventory actually went down 11.6%. To 3.8 months. So we're not quite at the yin and yang of 6 months. We're at 3.8, so we're still tight on inventory right now, but inventory is starting to rise. Traditional sales went down 4.3%, and the reason for that being is that you can get an FHA loan or a VA loan by putting more money or less money down, depending on what you're doing, and getting the same rate compared to a conventional loan. So there were 6 closed foreclosures for the county, which is still minuscule in the grand scheme of things, but compared to a year ago, that's 3 more than we had originally had. And then 1 closed short sale. So this is all for single family homes. It's showing that it's actually pretty darn stable around here. For townhomes and condos, let me give you that update. Closed sales were down 12.4%, not uncommon because of the winter. We are a secondary market, so a lot of times we will see it get a little slower during the Christmas, Thanksgiving, Christmas, January season. However, because of the new year and people wanting to move and do things, the pending sales are up 20.2%. So everybody always says, I'm going to take care of it in January. Well, here it is. So there's that. The median sales price actually went down in regards to condos because when you get a secondary home, which we are a secondary market, you tend to have a little bit higher of a mortgage rate, usually about 1% higher than everybody else. And so therefore, you're going to see people spending a little bit less money on their secondary home than their primary home. So that actually is $268,500 down from $269,250. We're talking a 0.3% difference, not a huge one. So that's showing stability as well. Traditional sales for condos were down 14%. Makes sense because you can get an FHA or VA loan cheaper than you can get a conventional on a secondary home. So a lot of people did that. Foreclosures, they had 4 foreclosure sales, not a big difference, and then 0 short sales for condos and townhomes. So what am I trying to go over to explain this to you? So the housing market here in Brevard County has been very stable, and on top of that, we are not even close to the yin and yang, which means like the buyers and the sellers being like an even market. So it's been that the inventory is still low-ish. However, at the moment, the inventory is starting to rise again, I've noticed. And so we're a little bit higher than when this data came out, but to show that things are still moving and staying pretty stable here, because remember, real estate is very granular. So what happens in Orlando or Fort Myers or Tampa doesn't always mean it's going to happen here in one particular spot. Like, for example, Ocala is having a bit of a meltdown in certain areas. We're not having that. So we still had nominal increases over across the county, but then we had certain areas like Vieira, Melbourne Beach, Indian Atlantic, Merritt Island that had really decent increases in prices. But at the same time, when the rates go up, people are starting to compete, and therefore you don't know where that's going to land eventually price-wise. But for the most part, it has been pretty darn stable. So if you have any questions, please let me know. You can always send me a message, text me, call me, whatever I can do. My name is Matthew Stebbins with Space Coast Elite Homes Teams. Thanks for watching.